Thank you.
Do you have another witness you want to call this afternoon?
We do. We have Jessica Crawford, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, the court may call its next witness. Or, excuse me, the state may call its next witness.
Yeah, we call Jessica Crawford, Your Honor.
Ms. Crawford, you can come all the way up to the witness stand here. When you get up here, please remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat. When you get yourself positioned by the microphone right there, start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
My name is Jessica Crawford, JESSICA-CRAWFORD.
You may proceed.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Ms. Crawford. Can you please tell the jury how you're employed?
I am a firearms and toolmark examiner with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, Milwaukee Laboratory.
And specifically, are you employed within the Division of Forensic Science?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's Forensic Sciences, right, plural?
Correct.
Okay. And your official title is Firearms and Tool Marks Examiner, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And how long have you held your current position, ma'am?
Approximately 10 years.
And do you have any specific education that qualifies you to hold your current position?
I have a Bachelor's of Science from Fort Hays State University.
And have you completed any specialized training or experience that qualifies you to hold your current position, ma'am?
Yes, I have completed the Firearm and Toolmark Examiner training program that is provided by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab.
And as a part of your career, do you participate in any continuing education and or training requirements?
I do.
And does this allow you to remain current on topics in your field?
It does, yes.
Yep. Can you give the jury just a sample? What sort of continuing education or training do you participate in?
So we receive what we call proficiency tests. We receive a few of those each year that test us on the different disciplines in which we work. These are provided to us by a third-party organization and given to us in the form of a black box study. So essentially, we don't know the results. We do the work as casework, and then we return the results to the organization, and they provide us with results after the fact to ensure that we are staying competent on the work that we provide.
And throughout your career, have you ever been asked to present at conferences regarding topics in your field?
Yes.
And can you give the jury a sample? What topics have you presented on?
I present on evidence handling. I have presented on firearm and tool mark examination, and I have presented on Daubert hearings, which is a motion throughout the courts.
And have you testified in court before, ma'am?
I have, yes.
How many times have you testified?
About 120 times.
And Ms. Crawford, are you familiar with a concept that's known as firearms identification?
Yes.
Can you please just tell the jury, what is firearms identification?
With firearms identification, we are looking at firearms and firearm-related evidence like fired cartridge cases and fired bullets or projectiles. And we are comparing the fired bullets and projectiles to the firearm or to each other.
And as part of the 120 times that you've testified in court, have you ever testified regarding firearms identification?
Exclusively.
Okay. So the 120 times you've testified have all been related to firearms identification?
Yes.
Okay. And the specific training and experience and education that you've just defined, is all of that in relation to that particular topic, firearms identification?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And ma'am, are you familiar with a document that's known as a Statement of Qualifications?
I am.
Okay. And can you tell the jury, what is that?
A statement of qualifications is essentially a working resume. So it will have information regarding the work that I have done, the trainings I have done, the testimonies I have done within my time frame at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab.
Okay. And ma'am, well, Madam Clerk, if we could just project this on the witness's screen. Ms. Crawford, I'm just going to show you this document. It's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 113, and I'm going to ask if you recognize it.
Yes.
Okay. Is this your statement of qualifications, ma'am?
This looks like the first page of it, yes.
Okay. I'm going to scroll through and just let me know if it all looks correct.
Yes.
Okay. And this is your statement of qualifications, is that right?
It is, yes.
Okay. And as part of your career, is it an expectation that you maintain this type of document?
Yes.
And that is so you can testify in court regarding what you do on a daily basis?
Correct.
Yep. Your Honor, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 113? The defendant does not respond. The exhibit will be received.
And Your Honor, at this point, I would ask that the court receive Ms. Crawford as an expert witness pursuant to WSCStat 907.02 subsection 1, specifically in the field of firearms identification.
That is for the jury to determine.
Okay. Ms. Crawford, in relation to your work at the Wisconsin State Laboratory, do you receive firearms for identification and testing?
I do.
And when a firearm comes to you for testing, what is the procedure that you follow?
So when I receive a firearm, I will first examine that firearm to ensure that it hasn't been manipulated or damaged. Then we create a worksheet where we indicate all of the different manufacturing, make information on the worksheet. Once I've gone through the entire firearm, ensured that it is safe to fire, we perform 2 test fires of every firearm where I actively go into a shooting range and fire and collect the ammunition fired from the firearm.
And where do you get your hands on the ammunition that you use for test firing, the weapons that you receive?
We have a reference library of ammunition that we use to do all test firing with.
And the procedure that you just explained to the jury, is that followed each and every time, ma'am?
It is.
And why is it important that you follow that procedure each and every time?
For the quality control aspect of the work that we do to ensure that things are being done accurately and complete.
And after you finish test firing the weapon that is sent to you, do you complete or memorialize your findings in some sort of document?
Yes.
And what is that document?
Well, we do have notes, and then we also will write a report, and that report will have our findings.
And is this report known as a firearms identification report?
I believe it's a Wisconsin State Crime Lab report, but it is my report that indicates the firearms work.
I see. And is that something that you do each and every time you finish, is fill out that report?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, ma'am, as it relates to this particular case, do you know whether your lab received a firearm for testing that you analyzed here?
Do you have a laboratory number you could provide me?
I'll tell you what, maybe I can do even one better, ma'am. Do you know whether you completed a report in reference to a firearm in this case?
Yes, I do believe I did.
Okay. And if I was to show you a copy of that report here today in court, would that assist you in your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, are you able to see what's now been projected on your screen?
I can, yes.
Okay. And this is marked as State's Exhibit number 114, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, ma'am, just scrolling up, is that your name that's located at the top of this report?
That is my name, yes.
Okay. And so what is the when you analyze a weapon, is that the routine practice that you affix your name and your signature to this report?
That's correct.
Okay. And so does this assist you in terms of evaluating which firearm you analyzed in this particular case?
That's correct.
Okay. And again, this is your regular practice is to complete reports such as this in the scope of your employment?
It is.
Yeah, I ask the record that we receive the exhibit in for evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 114, Mr. Lychwick? Hearing no objection, the court will receive Exhibit 114.
And, Your Honor, I would ask that we publish to the jury.
Any objection to the publication, Mr. Lychwick? All right, it will be published.
So, ma'am, I'd like to start with the first section of this report. Do you see that there's an indication that says item AD1?
Yes.
Okay. And item AD1, is this the firearm that you received in your laboratory for testing?
Yes.
Okay. And what type of weapon is this?
This is a German Mauser, a model Luger 42 or 1939, 9mm caliber semi-automatic pistol.
Okay. And then there's also something on this one that says with six landing grooves, right and twist, rifle barrel. Do you see that?
Yes.
What does that mean?
The 6 lands and grooves and right-hand twist rifle barrel would indicate the characteristics of the interior of the barrel of this firearm.
And when you receive a weapon at your particular lab, are there some sort of stickers that are noted on it when it receives?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I believe that there's the firearm should be close by. If I could just use that with the witness, please.
Sure. The witness can use the gun box right there, which is identified as Exhibit 157.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ms. Crawford, do you have Exhibit number 157 in front of you?
I do.
Okay. And is that, are there stickers on that came from your lab?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Crawford, the previous witness has testified that the firearm has been rendered safe, too. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. So now, moving down, there's a section that says item AD2. Can you just explain that for the jury?
AD2 is a magazine that has 7 unfired 9mm caliber cartridges with it.
And is this an item that you would have received in your laboratory for testing?
Correct.
Okay, so you received, at the time that this Luger firearm was sent to you, also included with the submission was a magazine and then some unfired 9mm cartridges, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then continuing to move down, there's an item I and an item J. Do you see that as well?
Yes, I do.
Can you please explain what is item I and what is item J?
Item I is 1 fired 9mm caliber full metal jacket bullet with 6 lands and grooves and a right hand twist. Item J is also 1 fired 9mm caliber full metal jacket bullet with 6 lands and grooves and a right hand twist impression.
So these items I and item J, these are also items that were submitted to you for testing as well?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I believe these items have also been previously received. If we could just show those to the witness as well.
And they should be right there for the witness as well. Those are, those were part of 157, correct?
Yes.
They're on the box.
J here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item I and J, Attorney Thompson, did you pull out Exhibits 155 and 156?
I did, yes. They were up there. Those are the projectiles recovered from the victim's head and torso during the autopsy.
Sure. So just so the record's clear, then, with reference to item I and item J, those refer to Exhibits 155 and 156.
Thank you very much. So you have those in front of you, ma'am, as well?
I do.
Okay. Okay. Ma'am, with respect to all 3 of those items, are there yellow stickers indicated on each item?
There are, yes.
Okay. Can you explain that a little bit more?
So the yellow barcode sticker is something that's applied to each piece of evidence as it's received from law enforcement to the crime lab. It provides a laboratory case number and a laboratory item designation, and the barcode allows us to track and follow the chain of custody throughout the laboratory as the item is worked.
Okay. And again, moving down the report, if I could, please, you had testified earlier that you test fired this particular weapon, this Luger firearm that you received. Is that right?
That is correct.
And when you test fired this particular weapon, did you find there to be any malfunctions regarding it?
I did not.
Okay. So the weapon was capable of recycling a bullet through it. Is that right?
Yes, it did
Okay.
function.
Okay. I'm just going to take the exhibit down for 1 second here, ma'am. Actually, Madam Clerk, can we bring the exhibit back up to the witness at this point?
Just for the witness?
Yes, please. Ma'am, is there a section of your, well, first and foremost, do you have this document in front of you as well, ma'am?
I do.
Okay. Do you see a section in this report that's called microscopic comparison conclusion?
Yes, I do see. I just see the title at this time.
Okay. Can you explain what that is?
So microscopic comparison is going to be a comparison of the class and individual characteristics of a fired piece of evidence. So say we would take these test-fired cartridge cases and bullets, we would then do a microscopic comparison to fired evidence like cartridge cases or bullets that were received to compare the markings that are left over on those bullets and cartridge cases from the firing process that are imparted from the firearm onto those pieces of evidence. We use what's called a comparison microscope, and we compare them by using two stages or two microscopes that are connected by one optical bridge. And I look at both objects simultaneously, comparing the microscopic striations and impressions to each other in order to come to a conclusion.
And ma'am, just to kind of flesh that out just a little bit more, actually before I do that, Your Honor, we've now switched computers. Can we just now, once again, place this back on the screen for the jury? I just didn't want the jury to see my questions.
Oh, for the jury?
Yes,
Sure.
Yes, please. Yep.
So Exhibit 114 will again be displayed to the jury.
Can we zoom in a little bit more on that? So, ma'am, you were just testifying about this, the section microscopic comparison conclusions. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And when you're performing a comparison on what is listed as item I and item J, is that right in there?
That is correct.
Okay. So what you're doing then is you're performing a comparison between what you received, which is item I and item J, with the bullets or the projectiles that you have in your laboratory. Is that right?
Correct. The ones that I fired through the firearm compared.
Okay. And when a firearm is recycled through a particular weapon, in this case, a 1939 Luger, does the cartridge have any specific markings or something that would indicate it came from that particular weapon?
That is my experience.
Yep. Can you explain that a little bit more to the jury?
So during the manufacturing process, when a firearm is being made, it's being made with tools. As those tools are forging those different parts, those tools are changing in themselves. So I like to think of it like a piece of chalk. So say you have a fresh piece of chalk and you take it and you score it on the ground. When you look at that end, you're going to see some striations, you're going to see some impressions from the ground that you just rubbed it against. Now, if you were to take it and do it again, you may still see some of those striations and impressions from that first time, but there may be some subtle or different changes that are happening during each time that you're marking that piece of chalk. So the tools that are used in the manufacturing process are similar in the sense that as they wear through each item that they're making, they also have slight changes. So that's where we have that difference between class characteristics and individual characteristics. A class characteristic will be something that's done, decided in manufacturing. So something like the caliber or that amount of lands and grooves, that would be something that was decided and is a class characteristic. I would expect that many Lugers would have a 6 right-hand twist barrel. Those microscopic striations and impressions that are happening during that manufacturing process where those tools are then wearing through each piece that it's making, those are going to be those individual characteristics, those microscopic striations and impressions that we're using in order to identify a particular gun back to the pieces of evidence that we receive.
I see. Thank you for that explanation. And so so again, referring you back to the item that's listed as AD1, the weapon that you received, and then the two items that you spent regarding item I and item J, do you have an opinion regarding whether items I and item J came from item AD1 based on your testing?
I do.
Yes. Can you please state that opinion, ma'am?
It is my opinion that items I and J, the two fired 9mm caliber bullets, were fired through the barrel of item AD1, which is the German Mauser Luger.
1 second, ma'am. Ma'am, when you look at all of these items, do they all have the appropriate crime lab designation?
The barcode sticker?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay. And in terms of the item I and item J that you just testified to, is that opinion made to a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
It is, yes.
And what specifically would you point to informing that opinion?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Sure. What specifically, you've just testified that it's your conclusion that item I and item J were recycled through item AD1. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what do you rely on specifically in forming that opinion?
So that opinion is based off of my training and experience as a firearms and toolmark examiner.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you would point to on those particular items, any stratations or something that would be in support of that?
So during my examination, I do find areas of identification that assist me in being able to make the identification to the barrel. And that is just going to be areas of those striations within the lands and grooves that I was able to make identifications to.
Do items I and items J bear specific marks on them that are similar to the ammunition that you test fired, that are similar in nature?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
So by comparing items I and J to the test-fired bullets that I fired through item AD1, I was able to find areas of identification that, in my opinion, I was able to then make an identification that these two items were fired through the barrel of item AD1.
And when you make that conclusion, ma'am, is there some sort of peer review process that takes place in order to ensure the accuracy of your findings?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what that process is?
Firearms goes through a two-step process. There is a peer review or technical review portion, and that is when a second qualified examiner takes the paperwork and ensures that it's accurate and complete. There is also a process where that second qualified examiner takes the physical evidence itself, performs an examination, and confirms that the evidence supports the conclusions made in my report.
And, Your Honor, at this point, may I approach the witness just to retrieve evidence?
You may.
So, ma'am, just to be clear, I'm holding in my hand States Exhibit 155 and States Exhibit 156. These are items I and J, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So it is your conclusion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty that these two projectiles came from what I'm now holding as States Exhibit number 157. Is that right?
That is correct.
And that is item AD1, as noted on your lab report. Is that right?
That is correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, any cross-examination for this witness? The defendant does not respond. Ms. Crawford, you may step down.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 4:46. We've had another full, productive day. I appreciate your attention and patience throughout the day. We are going to break for this evening. I want to remind you that you have not heard all of the evidence in this case. You have not heard any of the instructions that I am going to give you, so it is not ready for your deliberations yet. As you go home tonight, take a break, get some rest. Don't talk about the case to anyone, including loved ones. Don't talk about it to your fellow jurors as you're leaving the courtroom. You are not able to deliberate until I allow you to when the evidence is finished and the arguments are finished. So we will break until tomorrow morning. We're going to resume again at 8:30 tomorrow morning. But again, I think we're doing very well on time. So you can feel comfortable that we will be able to finish in a timely fashion here. All right, we will see you tomorrow at 8:30.
All right.
You may be seated. We are now outside the presence of the jury. The court will make the following record regarding the defendant during this period of testimony. I'll also note that the defendant has not been standing for the jury as instructed by the bailiffs, even though I'm not under any impression that the defendant is unable to stand. He is only restrained by the ankle, and he would otherwise be able to stand. At 3:21 this afternoon, during Detective Schulten's testimony, the defendant appeared to be slumped over a little bit in his chair. That was the first time that I was under the impression that Mr. Lychwick could potentially be asleep in his chair. I had one of the bailiffs walk behind him and nudge him on his shoulder, and he had, again, that sort of startled awakening where he looked up at the deputy. Other than that, the defendant has remained stationary. He is huddled under his coat. The coat is pulled up around his shoulders and up to his chin. He has maintained some eye contact with court. I've noted it a couple of times where I've looked over at the defendant and he's been looking at the court, and then as soon as we make eye contact, he quickly shuts his eyes. There are other times, like now, where his eyes are open and he's blankly staring or staring at the court. So again, the court is convinced that the defendant remains awake and attentive during this. He is simply refusing to participate, but he is not obstructive and not obstructing any of the testimony or the court proceedings. So if he wants to sleep or meditate or not participate, that is his choice to make. All right, Attorney Thompson, how are we doing on time and scheduling?
I think we're doing great. The witness who had a conflict in Milwaukee County this afternoon will be the first one I call tomorrow morning at 8:30, and I expect her to be available. And then after that, the state has 3 additional witnesses, all of whom are somewhat lengthy, but we are definitely on track. If we don't end up resting tomorrow, then certainly finishing up Thursday morning with testimony.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you want to address at this time, Attorney Thompson?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, is there anything you want to address at this time? Okay. I'll note, too, that where the record reflects that the court has asked Mr. Lychwick certain questions, either in regards to anything he wants to add or in regards to the exhibits being offered or anything like that, for the most part, I've tried to wait a few seconds for a response and then make a note that the defendant has not responded. Other times I know I've asked the defendant the question and then simply moved on and allowed the exhibit to be entered. So just for the record, in case there's any question later on, I've always allowed Mr. Lychwick several seconds to respond to me, and the times that I've moved on have been because Mr. Lychwick has not offered me any response. I do want to go through just real quick where we're at on the exhibits. By my count, it appears that we have exhibits 1 through 72 all admitted into evidence, and that includes 1A, 1B, 1C, 28A, 34A, 41A, 59A. Then the next consecutive batch is exhibits 75 through 91, and that includes 80A, 81A, and 87A. I then have 93 through 101, 108 through 110, 113 through 114, 140, 145 through 147, including 145A, 146A, 149 through 150, plus 150A, 155 through 157, and 165 through 168, including 165A and 166A. State, is that consistent with what you have?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lychwick, anything you want to say regarding that rundown of exhibits? Mr. Lychwick refuses to respond. Okay, that's where we should be then with exhibits. Mr. Lychwick, I want you to think about how this case is going tonight and decide whether or not you want to be an active participant in your defense tomorrow. I will once again allow you to dress in civilian clothes if you so choose. You can ask questions of the witnesses that the state calls. You can raise objections. You can consult with standby counsel. Those are all options available to you that you have not utilized today. Tomorrow's a new day, Mr. Lychwick, so reflect on how today went and see if you want to participate in your defense tomorrow. We are adjourned until 8:30 tomorrow.
And I have the exhibits as well. I'll bring those up.
Thank you.
As well. Yeah.